You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
Russia hates Russia, Putin, Russia, Moscow, Russian, pro-Russian, Russia.
The hypocrisy is oozing from my screen.
Of the 2020 presidential election in this state.
A criminal conspiracy, they say, so they used the RICO statute, which was put in place back in the 1970s to literally take down the Italian mafia.
This is to our beloved people of America. Trump is the last president that you must have in 2024. If you don't have Trump, you can kiss your country goodbye.
Oh, man, we got Mark Dice on the screen today. So Trump has been indicted again. I mean, these people, sheesh. Why do they think they're going with some of this stuff? Anyway, let's take a listen to Mark Dice. This is one of my favorite YouTubers, by the way. Link in the description below. Let's hear what he has to say.
Ordinarily, when the ruling regime of a country arrests their political opponents on trumped-up charges, it shocks the country. But this is the fourth time that this has happened now to Donald Trump in the last few months, so we're all kind of used to it, and it feels like an ordinary Tuesday in the United States of Sodom and Gomorrah. I'll debunk the bogus charges in just a moment. These stemming from Fulton County, Georgia, where the grand jury picked this person, you may recall, as the jury foreman.
Did you personally want to hear from the former president?
I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. And so I thought it'd be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly swear? And me getting to swear him in, I kind of thought that would be awesome.
Oh, the deepfake is outrageous.
Okay, so that's just a meme by C3P Meme, who does fantastic work. But this is the real jury foreman. You probably saw this clip when she first gave these ridiculous interviews. And this is who the grand jury chose to represent them. This was who they decided was the smartest one out of the whole group. This is straight out of
know,
Idiocracy.
of course, one of the biggest questions remaining for everyone that wasn't in that jury room with you is how many people are in trouble here? What can you tell us about how many people you recommended as a group to face indictments?
Again, this is who the grand jury decided should represent them, should lead them. The only person having more fun than her is Hillary Clinton, who coincidentally, of course, was on MSNBC last night as news of the latest indictment broke.
Is the former Democratic presidential nominee, U.S. Senator from New York and Secretary of State. I should tell you she has a new essay out in the Atlantic.
She just so happened to be there, right? Of course.
On the well-being of Americans and our democracy. It's called The Weaponization of Loneliness.
That came out a week ago. Nobody goes on cable news to talk about a column that they wrote in some garbage leftist rag of a magazine a week ago. Of course, they booked her. They knew that the indictment was coming out yesterday. It was accidentally posted on the website before it was officially announced, and so everybody knew it was coming, so they booked Hillary Clinton to come on and celebrate.
Madam Secretary, fancy meeting you here.
I can't believe this.
Yeah, this is not the circumstances in which I expected to be talking to you.
Nor me, Rachel. It's always good to talk to you, but honestly, I didn't think that it would be under these circumstances. Yet another set of indictments.
Yes, another indictment, which we'll look at in a moment. Here's District Attorney Fannie Willis, who filed it.
A Fulton County grand jury.
Well, before that, didn't Hillary Clinton herself deny the election? So let me get the video for you.
I think it's also critical to understand that, as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
We are still every day dealing with this question of whether or not our president was chosen, not just because of a foreign intelligence operation. We're grappling with this existential question as to whether his campaign was part of that foreign intelligence operation. Russia. Russia, Vladimir Putin, Russia, 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 Russia hates Russia, 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 Putin, Russia, Russia, Russian, Russia, Moscow, Russia, Russian, pro-Russian, Russia.
The hypocrisy is oozing from my screen.
Russian, the Russians, Russians, Moscow, Russia, Putin, Russia against us.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did. And I take responsibility for those parts of it that I should. But Jane, it was like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. And so I know that he knows that this wasn't on the level. I don't know that we'll ever know everything that happened, but clearly we know a lot and are learning more every day, and history will probably sort it all out. So of course he's obsessed with me, and I believe that it's a guilty conscience in so much as he has a conscience.
And let's not forget.
Oh, yeah. So you get the point, right? So you notice the double standard, how it goes? So here she is talking about how denying the election is such a bad thing, but she did this after Trump won in 2016. And the whole Russia gate was this idea that Trump either stole the election through the interference of some type of Russian, I guess, would you say, intervention of some sort, or and proven to be a lie. It's been a lie from the very beginning. So, and again, she's not in trouble. She's not behind bars. I don't wish evil on any man. You know what I'm saying? God is the judge. But the justice system doesn't prosecute her. I mean, what's his name? James Comey. They just give her a slap on the wrist, even though she had a server of how much stuff she was involved in. Totally violated, sharing classified documents that Trump is being indicted for. She had these things in her hands, and she was not even a president. So, I mean, she had no business having them. Selling the American people, going back to Benghazi and what she's done as far as neglecting these soldiers back there who lost their lives because she didn't listen to their cry. She was too busy doing something else. So there's been neglect, abuses of the system. There's been a lot of corruption. She's fine. The lady's free. But Trump is evil? Come on now.
Attorney Fannie Willis, who filed it.
A Fulton County grand jury returned a true bill of indictment, charging 19 individuals with violations of Georgia law arising from a criminal conspiracy to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in this state.
A criminal conspiracy, they say, so they used the RICO statute, which was put in place back in the 1970s to literally take down the Italian mafia so that the higher-ups, the leaders of the families, could be indicted for charges that their underlings did because, of course, they're trying to portray Donald Trump as a mob boss.
But doesn't Trump has the right to actually do exactly that? Let's listen to another video. This is coming from... this is the Speaker of the House, okay? McCarthy. Now, every now and then he comes out and says something that makes sense. I guess this is one of those moments.
It's fair for all Americans. It shouldn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican, and it definitely should not matter in America if you're my political opponent that I can use government against you. That is wrong.
Well, we can rewind that to, Donald Trump still saying the election in 2020 was fraud. There was fraudulent activity going on.
Yeah.
That Joe Biden didn't win.
Yeah. And I can say the same thing that Hillary Clinton says about her election that she lost. I can say the same thing about the DNC who said it about the 2016 race. I can say the same thing about those in the Democratic Party from the leadership on down about George Bush not winning, that Al Gore did. But were any of them prosecuted? Were any of them put in jail? Were any of them held with no response to be able to get out? The answer is no. So yeah, you can raise that someone raised a question. And in America, you are entitled to raise a question. You're entitled to question whether it was honest or not. That's the uniqueness of the First Amendment. That's the uniqueness of America. But you know what? You shouldn't be prosecuted for your thoughts. And the difference here is, when Hillary Clinton said it, nothing happened to her. When they said it in Georgia's election, nothing happened to them either. You know what? When the DNC said it, nothing happened to them either. So stop using government to go after people who politically disagree with you. That is wrong, and that should stop now.
I told you, every now and then he does make sense. Sometimes I don't know what he's talking about, but every now and then he comes out with some truths. Exactly.
And here's some of the supposed evidence detailed in the indictment. On or about the 21st day of November 2020, Mark Meadows sent a text message to United States Representative Scott Perry from Pennsylvania and stated, "Can you send me the phone number for the Speaker and the leader of the Pennsylvania legislature? POTUS, the President of the United States, wants to chat with them." This was an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. On or about the 3rd day of December 2020, Donald John Trump caused to be tweeted from the Twitter account @RealDonaldTrump, "Georgia hearings now on OAN." Amazing. This was an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy, they say.
Oh, my
Seriously,
goodness.
this is directly from the indictment. So Donald Trump telling people to tune in to OAN is part of the conspiracy. On or about the 8th day of December 2020, Michael A. Roman sent a text message to unindicted co-conspirator individual 4, whose identity is known to the grand jury, stated, they can't even write this right, it should be stating that he had spoken to Misty Hampton and asked unindicted co-conspirator individual 4 to get Misty Hampton to attend the hearing before the Georgia House of Representatives Governmental Affairs Committee on December 10th, 2020. This was an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. On or about the 11th day of December 2020, David James Schaefer reserved room 216 at the Georgia State Capitol in Fulton County, Georgia, for the December 14th, 2020 meeting of Trump presidential elector nominees in Fulton County, Georgia. This was an overt act in furtherance.
This is a joke.
Of the conspiracy. So wanting to audit the signatures on the mail-in ballots to try to verify whether or not the people who supposedly voted on them and signed them and mailed them in actually did so, that is undermining our democracy. And so is Donald Trump telling people to watch television. But if you're Hillary Clinton and you send 110 classified documents through your secret unsecured email, hoping to avoid any kind of oversight, then you're not charged with any crimes at all.
From the group of 30,000 emails returned to the State Department in 2014, 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information at the time they were sent or received.
And some of those mysteriously showed up on Anthony Weiner's laptop. Meanwhile, this is the supposed president of the United States.
President, any comments on the rising death toll in Maui?
I don't even think he understands the question that was asked him, to be honest. I'm going to give him a... Do we really believe Biden is with it to even care about what happened in Maui? The fires and everything. Do you think Biden is really with it in the sense to even care about that? I doubt it. That's my perspective. I doubt it. But anyway.
Can you come talk about the Hawaii response, Mr. President?
He literally smiled and said no comment. Not even a quick, yeah, it's terrible. We're doing everything we can. We're getting FEMA there, the National Guard. We're mobilizing all the possible resources we can to help those people. No comment. And this was President Trump in good spirits before the indictment, anticipating the inevitable.
Every time they file an indictment, we go way up in the polls. We need one more indictment to close out this election. One more indictment, and this election is closed out. Nobody has even a chance. We've already defeated the Republicans. They're at 2 and 3 and 1.
Some people live for the fight, and it does appear to be energizing Donald Trump even more.
All right, I have this final video to add. Black Conservative 24. Listen to this following. I don't know how I feel about this, but this is a powerful statement, though. Let's listen to this.
Yes. I'll say this, by the way. This is to our beloved people of America. Trump is the last president that you must have in 2024. If you don't have Trump, you can kiss your country goodbye. The next superpower is coming, will destroy everything. And I don't care what people say. And then we'll make some deals. Pray, my beloveds. And I pray, and I need your prayers as well. And may the church wake up. Church leaders wake up. Be humble and true servant of the Lord Jesus. Serving the Lord from the heart, not from the lips. Enough hypocrisy. Enough buying and selling in the Father's house. Enough snatching away the glory of Christ. Christians, wake up.
Powerful. I mean, I don't know where you stand when it comes to that message. That's what he said. Maybe the Lord put something on his heart. Maybe this is perspective and impression. Maybe it's just a political perspective. Who knows? All that I know is consider it. You know, it does feel, I could be wrong. Again, I'm in my own journey and I have my own perspective. It does feel that if Donald Trump doesn't win, we are doomed. It feels that way, right? I know ultimately the Lord is in charge of everything. He sets up kings, he removes kings, sets up kings. But when I'm looking at the nature of what's going on politically, I said, man, if Trump doesn't win, you know, we are in serious trouble. If we get like a Garvin Newsom, if we get like a Chris Christie, I don't know, he's not gonna win anything. I highly doubt it. I have hope in Vivek Ramaswamy. I don't think he has the muscle though. I think he has the speech and the heart. I don't know if he has the muscle to carry it out. That's still where my doubts is when it comes to him. I do have hope in Larry Elder. I think Larry Elder is a great candidate. Ron DeSantis, not so much sold on some of his policies. I think he's decent, but not really someone that I could say. I think very few candidates can go against the deep state like Donald Trump has been. And for as much as he's gone through, having been indicted several times just this year alone, Trump has faced throughout his presidency and until now, over 96 different charges has been filed against them. Most of them found to be bogus, completely insignificant, didn't even consider it in the courthouse. But they're still finding stuff, right? And the hope is to get something, catch him something, find him guilty, just the entire process, right? Just having him going through that could wear him out. Instead of him focusing on doing his work as a president, for those of you who don't believe me, Trump is going to win, clean cut. The goal is to make sure he doesn't win. And that's the goal. They refuse to allow this to happen. And the reasons they don't want him to win is because there are some people, when you study a little bit more into the deep state and their perspective of politics, they're just afraid that if Trump comes in office, he will drain the swamp. He really will. So they know a lot of the corrupt stuff they've been doing, that's corrupting and destroying America, a lot of that communist, socialist propaganda and wickedness that they've been doing for a long time, Trump will not put up with it. He will shut them down. He can. He is not bought or sold. He doesn't need a paycheck as a president. And he's been able to do so much when he was in presidency. These people are terrified. And the goal is to get Trump by any means necessary. So it does feel like this one man speaking here that without Trump, we are in serious trouble. It does feel like if Trump doesn't win the presidency, we can kiss goodbye to American values. It does feel that way. I hope I'm wrong. I wish I was wrong. Anyway, that's my thought. Where do you stand when it comes to this? Share your thought and perspective with me as well. Let me know what you think about this. Link in the description below. Have a good one. Bye.